All right, so I guess it's a welcome back. Actually, it's been almost 3 weeks, 2 weeks off. Okay, but for good things, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so tonight we are learning to Refuah Shlema to Yecheskel ben Tzila, Refuah Shlema to Yaakov Adam ben Simachaya, and Leinu Yishmat to Rafael Fuad ben Rina Rita, and Refuah Shlema to Simcha bat Barbara. Okay. Maybe it was bracha, we'll never know. Okay, so now, what other announcements? Everyone's invited to join us. All women are invited to join us at 1601 Quentin Road every Thursday at 8 p.m. But again, like the past 2 weeks, just do find out, reach out to me beforehand just to make sure we do have class. Okay, so what? Women only, right? Women only. Okay, if I say women only, then all the men are going to come. Okay, so now. Because I have students that they rarely come to classes, but they want to come to this Thursday class. They really want to come to this Thursday class. So it's always that way. When you can't do something, that's when you want to do it. When you can't get something, that's when you want it the most. You have somebody. Let's not get too much off topic. Let's begin. Okay, so now tonight's topic, very, very interesting topic. We're getting close to the end of our Mashiach series. Tonight, what I want to discuss is, besides Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, also a very important, question and idea to contemplate is, we know that we're currently in the exile of Edom and in the exile of Yishmael simultaneously, both. So now the question is, who's going to last? Who is going to last? Who's going to be the last one standing? Is it going to be Edom or is it going to be Yishmael? So B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully we'll discuss that tonight and figure out who is going to be the last one standing. So now, before we even begin explaining the differences and why we need two Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, we have to really understand the root of the need for the two Mashiachs. So now, when the world was created, Adam was given a job. And Adam's job was, do not eat from the Etz Hadas. You have to go, really the focus of Adam was self-rectification. It was sort of like Adam had to perfect himself. How was Adam perfecting himself? Was through the fact of listening to God, to the things that he needed to listen to. So now, when Adam went, and Adam and Chava went and went through the sin of the chet of the Et HaEgel, of the... Very good. Okay, so someone's listening. The chet of the Etz Hadas, okay, I'm a little bit, in two different places right now. In the chet of the Etz Hadas, so they did not do the chet HaEgel. So whoever is with me, that was many generations later. It was the chet of the Etz Hadas. So when Adam and Chava ate from the Etz Hadas, there was a ramification that happened from that sin. So now, what were these ramifications? Try to understand this, there's what I'm about to explain is something known as Tikkun Adam and Tikkun Olam. Now, whoever doesn't understand this, let me try to give a little bit of a background into it. There's a little bit of Kabbalistic terms. So now, when you do a mitzvah, we know that it affects you. It affects you. When you do a sin, we know that it affects you. That's a very, very obvious, a very, very common understanding. Idea that when you don't listen to God, that it's not only the fact that you did something wrong, but it's also that it affected you on a personal level. Like, you become different. And if you could think of an example like this, that let's say somebody goes and I don't know, steal something. So besides the fact that it did something wrong, it also affected who they are as a person, because now they stole something. So now what happens is, one example would be the next time they have the temptation to steal, they might be more easily, subdued into their temptation to steal because they've done it before. So they have some sort of connection to that sin that they have, and it changes who they are as a person. Now, in order to rectify that, you have to do a tikkun adam. You're doing a personal rectification. But there's also another aspect whenever you do a sin or whenever you do a mitzvah. It affects the surrounding around you. Now, I really should have done this research beforehand, but I remember hearing about this, I don't think I read this anywhere, that in San Francisco, it's known to be a to'eva capital, right? A place where they have a lot of problems and sins against God in the interpersonal relationship world. And what they did was, and they found that the animals also had similar character traits regarding their relationships the same way as the people. Now, in case, let me not speak in code. So people just follows what's going on. They follow the cleanest way possible, right? So in San Francisco, they go with the same gender. They found out that the animals also go with the same gender. And it's something that was very fascinating. Again, I didn't read the research behind this, but this is something that I heard more than once. And what's interesting about it is the concept behind it. The concept behind it is that when you do a sin, it doesn't only affect you, it affects your surroundings. We know, for example, when you're going to a holy place, the place in itself is holy. Look at the grave sites. Besides the people that are there, look at the places that we had the Beit HaMikdash. When you're doing Kedusha, it affects the world, it affects the earth, it affects the ground around you. There are certain places that have stronger and certain places that have a weaker sense of a closer connection to spirituality. So when someone does a sin, it affects them and it affects their surroundings as well. So there's two aspects here that need to happen. There's a tikkun adam and there's a tikkun olam. Tikkun adam is fixing yourself personally. Tikkun olam is fixing the world in a sense of there's many facets to this, but let's speak about it in one facet, that the sin seeps into the ground, if we could speak it like that. One explanation on it. So now, when Adam HaRishon did the sin, when Adam HaRishon had the first obligation, don't eat from that all his obligation was, do tikkun adam, fix only yourself. But when he sinned, that all of a sudden imbued into the ground. It became into the world, and now the world became a world of impurity, a world of death. Beforehand there wasn't any death. There was a lot of issues now that affected the earth itself that also needed the tikkun. So this is where it came into, split into like a tikkun olam and tikkun adam. Now the human beings, especially the Jewish nation, even the non-Jewish nation, we have a responsibility. We have to go and listen to Torah and follow God. And by doing that, we fix ourselves and we fix the world around us. But what happens, we had many generations after Adam that not only did they not fix themselves, they actually made it worse. They made it worse not only for themselves, but also for the world itself. And that's why what happened eventually? Eventually something called a flood happened. The flood, what was the flood? The flood, they sinned so bad that the earth itself had to be put in a mikvah. The world was in a mikvah. Why? Because the world itself was impure. It says even the animals, the tikkun needed was in a much higher level. As the generations went by and the Torah was given, there were some people that were able to, go towards the completion of tikkun olam and tikkun adam, and some people obviously went the opposite way. But where it reached the fruition, the maturity level, was by two special personalities in the Jewish history that focused on these and were able to bring it to a fruition. To a level of maturity even better. And that is, Tikkun Adam was brought to fruition with David HaMelech. And then you have Tikkun Olam that was brought into fruition with Yosef HaTzadik. And here's where we can start introducing, there is a Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. Right? You're following me so far? I'm trying to make it as clear as possible, because I spoke of this to the guys, and we didn't get anywhere. Like, it was just, and I realized I have to speak a little bit clearly and maybe a little bit slower to try to understand this concept. So we know that one of the things that we're doing when Mashiach is we're trying to bring it to the level before the Chet. So what we need to do now, we need to do a Tikkun Olam and Tikkun Adam. And now we have two Mashiachs. One Mashiach is connected more to the Tikkun Adam, but one Mashiach is connected more to Tikkun Olam. Okay, that's the basic simple understanding of it. When you go and when people generally say Mashiach, they usually refer to Mashiach ben David. So we know there's Mashiach ben Yosef and there's Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben David is the one that it's most commonly associated with. Not like... I
have a question.
I should put my phone on silent? You're right. Okay. So, yeah.
Every person, every person has to have the same tikkun?
No, every person has their own tikkunim that they need to do, based on their roots of their soul, based on sins that they did in this life, in the previous lives, and so on and so forth. So everybody has their own tikkunim they need to do, but their tikkunim, listening to the Torah, for example, just the basic not only affect you, it affects also the tikkun olam as well. So it affects different aspects of it. A different understanding, which I don't want to get into, is why you have, before Mashiach comes, you have Jews throughout the entire world. And even if Jews do not live there, they're on business there for some reason. Every time they make a bracha, there's a large ramifications to all these, all the dispersion, the reason for the exiles. There's a whole lot to speak about it, but it's deep and complicated, and let's try to go a little bit on even the simpler one is complicated. So we'll try to go in the simple path, but yet still, a bit complicated. So now, when discussing Mashiach, most people realize that this is focusing on Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben Yosef is known to come obviously from Yosef, but actually specifically from Ephraim, from the tribe of Ephraim. And some say that it comes from the descendant of Yehoshua ben Nun. Some say Zerava ben Nevat, as well. So Mashiach ben Yosef is supposed to come a little bit before Mashiach ben David. So it's Mashiach ben Yosef, and then Mashiach ben David comes. Now, what is the purpose of Mashiach ben Yosef? So we said already beforehand the concept of Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Adam, but what is the physical purposes, as well? So one of the purposes of Mashiach ben Yosef is to prepare the world for Mashiach ben David. And it's going to be in different ways. There's also could speak about Tshuva, bringing the Jewish people closer. It's going to be through wars. There is also a concept of retrieving the utensils of the Beit HaMikdash, which we know they're no longer, majority of them are no longer under Jewish possession. There's different arguments and hearsay and conspiracy theories. If it's in the Vatican, it's whatever it is. Who knows? Whatever it is, this is Mashiach ben Yosef's job. Let's try to keep the questions till the end, and then we'll try to answer all the questions. The third thing is an opinion that says that also that Mashiach ben Yosef will gather all the Jews to Eretz Yisrael. The fourth reason is that there will be a war. And that really is the focus of Mashiach ben Yosef. He's going to go and he's going to fight against the wicked nations. What is the purpose for this? It's going to be it's a trifold, I guess you could call it purpose. Number one, to fight against Amalek. Number two, to eradicate Edom. And number three, to eradicate and destroy Yishmael. So that is the focus of Mashiach ben Yosef. However, the ending of Mashiach ben Yosef is not so great. The ending of Mashiach ben Yosef is, unfortunately, that he will be killed. Mashiach ben Yosef will be killed. As it says in Zechariah, chapter 12, verse 10, it says, "Saftu alav ki mispat al yachid." They shall mourn on him as if one mourns as an only son. This is referring to Mashiach ben Yosef, that he's going to die in battle. There's different opinions on how he's going to die and what's going to happen. But following his death, it's going to follow with a lot of troubles for the Jewish nation. They're going to be in the desert. They're going to go through tunnels and mountains and eating off the weeds of the desert. A tremendous amount of suffering, unfortunately, that will happen on the Jewish nation after Mashiach ben Yosef dies. Asks Rav Hai Goin, and he says, why? Why does Mashiach ben Yosef have to die? Like, why? Even furthermore, how come God gave permission to the wicked nations to go and kill Mashiach ben Yosef? And Rav Hai Goin says this is going to be the test. This is going to be a test, and is one of the final tests in a sense before Mashiach comes. That what are the Jewish people going to say? Jewish people that didn't listen to this class, at least. What are the Jewish people that didn't know this concept? They're going to say, listen, we waited for Mashiach for how long? For so long, and now he comes and now he dies. Yallah, I'm out of this religion. They're going to leave the Jewish religion and they're going to go out, elsewhere. Says Rav Hai Goin, this is going to be a final test to see if you're going to stick to it or you're not going to stick to it. The Chafetz Chaim goes and says also that you shouldn't be, surprised by the success of the wicked people. He says this too is a test. Obviously, God has calculations for each of the wicked people. You have obviously, questions all the time. You see people at Mechalei Shabbat, people that go against religion, people that go against God. Let's even not Jewish, they go against God. They're like, how come they're so successful? Whatever God has a reason for that, God has a reason. But why is it they're successful and why is it bothering you? Because this is a test for you as well. This is a test. Are you going to follow God or are you not going to follow God? This too, Mashiach ben Yosef's death is also going to be, a test. 40 days after the death of Mashiach ben Yosef, that's when Mashiach ben David will be revealed. And he will revenge thank you. Avenge the death of Mashiach ben Yosef, and there's going to be a resurrection of the dead for Mashiach ben Yosef, and then this is where the days of Mashiach begins. That's where the days of Mashiach start happening. Now, Rav Saadia Gaon goes and says that all this storyline is not necessary. It's contingent. It doesn't have to be this way. If Mashiach ben Yosef doesn't have to die. In fact, to even that extent, the Mashiach ben Yosef doesn't have to come. It could even be Mashiach ben David, right away. The underlining factor that depends on all of this is depending on the Jewish nation. If the Jewish nation follow the ways of the Torah and do tshuva and come back, then there's no need for all of that. And it doesn't even have to come to that. In fact, this is opinion why the Rambam, Maimonides, doesn't even mention Mashiach ben Yosef. Why? But why doesn't he mention it? So one answer is because it doesn't have to be Mashiach ben Yosef. It could be directly to Mashiach ben David. It could go directly if the Jewish people are worthy. And it doesn't have to be 100%. It could be partially. It could be Mashiach ben Yosef comes, but Mashiach ben Yosef doesn't have to die, depending on the level of the Jewish nation. This is also very interesting. Pi Kabbalah, the one of the things when we say Shemona Esrei, when we daven and we say the Chisei David mehera letocha tachin. You should establish the throne of King David. One of the things that in Pi Kabbalah that you should have in mind is that Mashiach ben Yosef should not die during the war. These are one of the tefillot, one of the prayers that we pray that Mashiach ben Yosef doesn't have to die in the war of in the final war. So we see over here, quite a few interesting facts, ideas on Mashiach ben Yosef. But all of this all depends on us, and this, in fact, is an underlining concept, if you could call it, on everything that happens. The Israel, the Jewish nation, everything at the end of the day depends on us. And it doesn't depend if we're going to have funding for the army, and it doesn't depend if we're going to be able to go and support the IDF, or we're going to have political, people supporting that. It all depends on one thing and one thing only. It all depends on how is your spiritual standing. If your spiritual standing is strong, then you're going to be taken care of. If it's not, then it's not going to be taken care of. As much as we start running around all these things, yes, we have to do ishtadlut, we have to do our efforts that we have to do to ensure our safety. But bottom line, it all depends on one thing. Everything from the beginning of creation till Mashiach comes, all depends on spirituality. Everything else is just the little, pawns that are in the, that are just moving little spaces one at a time. Underlining all of it is spirituality. So now, we can begin to understand and delve into the concept of the 4 exiles and where Ishmael comes in, and how does this affect Mashiach ben Yavid and Mashiach ben Yosef. So we spoke previously about the 4 exiles, the exile of Babel, of Persia, of Greece, and of Edom. The question is, why isn't Ishmael in this list? And we spoke about this previously. We spoke about it, this is talking about 2 years ago, before we took the break of Mashiach. But during that time, we spoke about different ideas on Mashiach, on Yishmael. But this is where I really want to come to to close everything together. And what the funny thing is, sadly funny thing is that back then, when I was saying some of the classes, I remember saying, or I hope it was on camera. I don't know if it was on camera. There were certain things that would be unclear unless you heard this type of class, especially Ishmael lectures that I gave before. So, it's a little bit 2 years, a little bit too late, but better late than never. So we know that Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And in his dream, there was a monster. And I'm not talking about like a cookie monster or under the bed type of monster. This was a prophetic type of a dream. That the monster's head, maybe I shouldn't say monster, because the second say dream and a monster, you think a toddler. But there was a being, right? And the head was made out of gold, and each body part is referenced to a different exile. The head of gold is referenced to the exile of Babel. The body was made out of copper, and that is in reference to Greek. The arms are made out of silver, and this is in reference to Paras and Madai. And the legs, which is the 2 longest parts of the limbs of the body, that is in reference to Edom and Ishmael. So now, let's try to understand this. There's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah, page 2, goes, Labiyat, bless you, Gesundheit. How do you say it in Russian? Okay. Okay. Ostorov. And
That's actually not.
oh no, it's not. Is that a real word?
Yeah, it sounded like go away.
Okay. I thought that was, what's the word of going, okay? Araften, isn't Araften?
That's in Gorsky.
Oh, it's in Gorsky. Oh, wow, okay. All my Russians are mixing up. Okay, I'm sorry, in my head. Anyways, going back to the Gemara and Avodah Zarah. The Gemara of Avodah Zarah says like this. It says that in the days of Mashiach, God is going to take out a Torah scroll. And God is going to go and announce, whoever went and whoever occupied himself with Torah, come and get the reward. So you're going to have, the first nation that's going to come is going to be Edom. Edom is going to come and say like, all right, we're here to get the reward. So God's going to be like, are you serious? Like, what did you do to go and deserve this reward? So says, oh, what do you mean? He said, we built marketplaces, we built baths, we collected a lot of gold and silver. Why do we do all this stuff? Only because the Jewish nation should be able to go and serve Torah. God's going to say, you did that all for yourself. What are you doing? You did it for the Jewish, you did it all for yourself. Get out of here. You're not getting anything. After Edom leaves, guess who walks up? Persia is going to walk in. Persia walks in, and they go and they say, the Gemara says, why Persia next? Because the next in importance. And Persia is going to go in and they're going to say, oh, we built bridges, we captured many cities, we waged many wars, all for the sake of Israel. And so that they could go and serve Torah. And what did God say? God says, what, really? You're coming in, you did this all for yourself, just like Edom did. Come on, get out of here, you don't deserve any reward. So ask the Gemara, why should the Persians come in, seeing that the Romans came in and they achieved nothing? Because what are they going to say? They're going to say, oh, you know why the Romans don't deserve it? Because the Romans destroyed the second Beit HaMikdash. Right? We know that the Romans destroyed the second Mikdash, but what about Persia? Persia built the second Beit HaMikdash. Rabbi Yehoshua, whatever it is. Okay, so I'm going to have to learn it one day in Russian. So the Persians helped build the Beit HaMikdash. We know that Achashverosh's son, which comes out of Esther HaMalka, was Darius II. He helped, build the Beit HaMikdash. So Persia is going to say, you know why Edom couldn't get any reward? Because they went and they destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. But we built it. We built it, so we should deserve it. Says God, no, you did it also, for yourself. But there's a lesson that we can learn from this a little bit. We're going to pause and then we're going to continue with this. There's few things that we can learn from this. That many times in life, very unfortunate, is that we think that we deserve reward. We think that we're good. We're amazing people. Like, not we're good. We're great. We're a blessing in everybody else's life. Everyone's lucky to know me. That's how we feel that we are. And it's very often that we fool ourselves and we convince ourselves that we're really better than we really, really are. The Chazal tell us that in the entrance of Gehenom, the wicked people are not going to do tshuva. So there's a few questions on this. First of all, you can't do tshuva in the entrance of Gehenom because you're already in the next world. But even if you could do tshuva, how could it be that somebody will be in the entrance of Gehenom, and how could it be that they won't do tshuva? You know what our sages tell us? It says because the wicked people, they don't think that they're wicked. They think that they're good. They think that it's all a trick. They think that it's just a prank, that it's going to come over there and be like, and I'm just kidding, you're going upstairs. You're not going over here. You're going to the good. You're going to to Gan Eden, you're going to heaven. Because when they go over there, they see Gan Eden, they're going to be like, I don't deserve this. You know how much stuff I did? You know what good person I am? So I didn't keep Shabbat maybe. So I didn't learn, so I didn't dress modestly, so I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But I was a good person. And we convince ourselves that we're good people. Just like Edom and Persia. Edom and Persia went and they murdered who knows how many Jews. And yet they convinced themselves that they deserve, not that they're good, they deserve reward. Like they came up there first to go to God and be like, you owe us. Like look at what we've done for you. Look at what we have accomplished for you. And when you look at the other religions, for example, you look at Christianity, you look at Islam, when we look at it from a Jewish perspective, we'd be like, how could someone be so idiotic, so silly to say that this is a real religion? You just look at simple understanding. The Torah was given in front of 3 million people. Muslims agree with this, Christians agree with this. And then, for some reason, God decided to change everything with one person. JC Muhammad. There's a track record here. It should have been, if God would have really wanted to change it, do another 3 million people, or even half of that, 1.5. You know what? Give you 100,000. Let's go really low. Like 60,000 people. One person God had to change the entire world for, and it looks so idiotic. It'd be like, how could anybody go and say that this is a real religion? But the answer is, it looks idiotic from our perspective. Because we see it from an outside perspective. But somebody who's inside there doesn't see it in that aspect. They see this as a true thing. That this is a very, very important concept. When you're in the garbage, you don't smell the garbage. You're there. Right? You're there, you don't smell it. If you live in a certain area, you don't realize that it's bad until you leave that area. And then you go back and be like, what? I lived in here? Like you can't even understand it. So the concept of realizing what you're worth and what your worth is not a right word because that brings down self-esteem. What your true value isn't either. You get what I'm saying? Level, thank you. What your true level is you have to little step out of your situation. You have to step out of your situation and look down. Not from your eyes, not from your neighbor, but in the Torah's perspective. Are you living life according to the Torah? Are you going and living life according to what God wanted you to live life? If yes, then you consider yourself a good person. But if not, don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself because it's just like the Persians, just like Rome. They're going to go and they're going to come in thinking we deserve reward. How unfortunate it is for us, probably the worst of the worst, is somebody who's doing something bad but thinks that they're doing something good. Because that type of person will never change. You have to be honest with yourself. If you're not doing something good, you might not be able to change now. But at least know you're doing something not good. That there's going to be hopefully a time in your life that you're going to be able to change that. But if you convince yourself that it's good, then you're going to come after 120 and you're going to think you're going straight up. Straight up, the stairway to heaven. You're going to straight up, right? Whatever it is. I don't know. There's a song like that. There is, right? Okay, so.
Everyone knows they're not perfect and we're going to have to atone for things. I mean,
not everybody.
The silliest things. Not everybody, but most.
Those are the good people.
Just one little thing.
What?
And you can
Is that where the
still
phrase
end
the
up-
road tells people with good intentions?
Yes, one of them. Yeah. Oh, well, different. Yeah. I don't know if that's a Jewish one or not, but it's a very very important concept.
One
But
thing regular people could just go up to Shemaim. We all have to go. I don't know.
Yes.
I was told we all go to Gehenna, just like I told you, for something.
depending on if you did tshuva or not, depending on the level of tshuva.
Yeah, but
It's a very
also,
depressing way that
Teshuvah is also like how do you do it properly, or
you learn. It's not as crazy as it sounds. If you go and you follow the Torah, then there's no reason why you should.
But let's say Chil Hashem, Hashem says the only way to atone for it is death.
Right. Or you do. There's different kapparot that you could do for it. A kiddush Hashem, for example. Whatever. There's obviously a different different answer. The Rambam says, the only way that you could atone for it is death, but then that's an atonement. And if you did tshuva, so the final atonement comes, so then you don't have to. Right. So
there's such a thing as common people not going to Gehenna.
there are, of course, there are people that don't need to go to Gehenna. Again, I'm not out there and I don't take roster check and I don't take attendance. I don't sit over there and be like JC, of course. Okay, whatever. But I'm saying working down up. But don't think of yourself that you have to go to Gehenna. Very, very bad concept where people go and be like, I'm going there anyways. Or the worst saying that, I think the worst saying that exists after all the curse words is no, I'll see you in Gehenna. And be like, first of all, speak for yourself. All right? And second of all, this is a Jewish religion. Christian religion believes, especially, I don't know if it's Catholicism or something like that you're born evil, you'll die evil, whatever it is, only if you could do that. Right, exactly. That's not the aspect that you need to.
For a period of time. Meaning, if you do something small, you go for a little bit. If you do something,
What?
It's very morbid thought.
Not if you don't need it.
Why do you think you're going to just a minute?
No, you do tshuva.
everybody does things.
Do you finally need it? Listen, there's suffering that gets out of Gehenna. There's so many things that get out of Gehenna. I feel like we're going to start a class on Gehenna. Because the people say Kaddish for a year because the maximum sentence of a normal Jew who follows the regular, very important to say that because there's obviously extended circumstances, is 12 months. So we say Kaddish 11 months, saying that this person didn't need to go that extended period of time. So we say Kaddish to help a person for that. But does it mean that the person is there for a year? No, not necessarily.
Is it true that when someone is nifter that, let's say if they have any cholos, that they have to pay back money or anything, you have to pay back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Unfortunately, you have to come back for that. Okay, so now going forward with it, got a detour to Gehenna, and now we're back. Okay, so we learned from Edom and Persia. Speaking about Gehenna, right? We learned from Edom and Persia that we have to be very careful that we don't fool ourselves. They fool themselves to the extent that they believe not only they didn't do anything bad, that they deserve reward for what they've done. And the Gemara goes, and even furthermore, they even have reasons in their back pocket. They're so convinced that they even present themselves, but I have reasons of why I deserve it. And until they finally get the answer, be like, you did it for yourself, they're like, oh, yeah, I guess, and then they walk out. But they fool themselves to the extent that they fully believe in it. They fully believe in it. So we have to be careful that we don't fall into that, into that issues or problems. Now the Gemara goes and continues that every nation after that goes and follows in step and be like, okay, we deserve it. And we say, why did they come up? They say, okay, listen, the other nations will say, we never oppressed Israel. We never oppressed Israel. We never oppressed the Jewish nation. So we should also get reward for it. But then again, they all leave. The question is, why is it that these two nations, the two nations the Gemara singles out is Persia and Edom? Why these two nations? The answer is because these two nations are the most important. Why? Because these two nations are going to be standing until the coming of Mashiach. These are the two nations that are going to be standing. So now the question is, we know that Edom is in reference to Rome, which is the Western world today. You could call it America, and so on and so forth. Where's Persia? Who's Persia? So when we say Persia is Iraq or whatever it is, but the essence is what we brought out in previous lectures is that it is Yishmael. Ask the Maharal. Says, why is it if Yishmael is very imperative in this exile, how come it was never in the list? We know the 4 exiles. It should have had a 5. Where's Yishmael? Yishmael is in the extended version. It's in the extended version of it. So I want to share with you something from Rabbi Daniel Glatzin and how he explains it. He goes and he brings down the Maharal, and he says like this. He says that when the Jewish nation was conquered by Bavel, so now it's like a seesaw. So when the Jewish nation is up, they're down. Now all of a sudden Bavel captured us, so now they're up. Now what happened with Bavel? Bavel was captured by Palasamota, was by Persia. And then Persia was captured by Greece. And Greece was captured by Edom, by Rome. So you have oppression of the Jewish nation was constantly captured by somebody else, and they oppressed the Jewish nation as well. So the way that it works with these 4 exiles that are very commonly mentioned are in the fact that when they're very correlated to the Jewish nation. They're the ones that oppressed us. So now what happens with Yishmael? Yishmael is in a different category in its entirety. Why? Because there's a specific, unfortunately, very special bracha that Avraham gave Ishmael. God goes over to Avraham and says, you can have another nation. What did Avraham go and say? Avraham goes and says in Bereshit chapter 17, verse 18, it says, Lu Yishmael yichel lefnecha. But I have a son. Let this son live before you. Let him follow the footsteps. Yishmael's power has an independent power. All the other powers are independent like a seesaw, depending on the Jewish nation, depending on the other nations. Yishmael has an independent power from the bracha, from the blessing of Avraham. So, when Yishmael is coming in over here, it doesn't have any relations to the Jewish nation. They have a specific power in itself. So now the question is that we have 2 final nations standing. We have Yishmael and we have Edom. Who is going to be the last one? We look at the Gemara in Yuma. The Gemara in Yuma, page 10, goes and says that there's a machloket. Who's going to stand last? Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi goes and says Rome is going to fall in the hands of the Persian, meaning that Rome, Edom, America, that's going to be the last one standing. Rav says Persia will fall into the hands of the Romans. That Persia is going to go down, and Romans is going to. I switched it. Okay, you followed me so far, right? Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, whatever it is, right? One says that Persia will last. One says the first one, which is Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, says Persia will last. Rav says is that Edom will last. So the question is, who do we pass him like? Who do we pass him like? Brings down Reb Chaim Kanievsky. Anybody here familiar with Chad Gadya? Right, it's where everyone sleeps during the Sedel, right? That's the last, last part, and people make songs and noises and whatnot with it. So we're not going to go through the whole story, but it was basically a goat that was bought with 2 zuzim, right? This is a reference actually to the Jewish nation. The Jewish nation is known as the goat. The 2 zuzim is known as the shtei luchot. But whatever it is, then it goes through one thing hit to another. You have the dog, the cat, and so on and so forth. It's actually the cat, the dog, the stick, the fire, the water. There are a bunch of things that happen after that, and each one overtook the one prior to that. Now, if you look at it, how many bad guys are involved over here? There are 8 bad guys. 8 bad guys, each responding to a different nation. Now, we said there's 4 exiles, there's subcategories of exile. We're not going to get into it because of the time that we have. But in any case, we have to look at who are the final 2. The final 2 bad guys in Chad Gadya is we have the Shochet, the butcher, and we have the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. So now, one of these 2 is Rome, is Edom, and one of these 2 is Persia. Now, whoever's standing last is the angel of death. So if we figure out who is standing last, then we're going to figure out who's going to be the last one standing in exile. Says Rav Chaim Kanievsky, the Shochet is known, the butcher is known as Edom. The Gemara Psachim compares Edom to a Shochet. So we see over here that Edom is the Shochet. The Shochet, the butcher, goes and gets, killed by the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death. So who makes that the angel of death? The angel of death is none other than Ishmael. Who's going to be standing last? Ismael. I don't want to say ISIS, but the Arab nations, they're going to be the ones that are going to be, says Rav Chaim Kanievsky, they're going to be the ones that are going to be standing out last. And this is why the Zohar says that the galut, the exile of Ishmael is going to be the most difficult one. They're called Yishmael. Yishma is here, Kel is God. God will hear the screams of the Jewish nation. That's the difficulty of the exile of what will be during the exile of Yishmael. That's going to be the final exile, even though it's going to be simultaneously, but that's how it's going to work for us. So now let's try to close this all together and understand this so beautifully. If you didn't understand anything until now, you probably won't understand anything now. But if you did understand something, it's going to be beautiful. So now, so you probably thought I was going the other way. No. Okay, you're going to be completely lost. There's a Midrash at Tanchuma. It's a little bit of a heavy share. I probably should have said that in the beginning. Guys, you have to concentrate for this class, okay? So, okay. Yeah. So there's a Midrash at Tanchuma. We'll put it in together. It's going to start getting beautiful. If you understood 50% until now, then you'll be able to get there. How about that? I'll give you a discount. All right? It's Black Friday, right? We got to give you off. Okay, yeah. Buy 1 lecture, get 1 free. Okay. Tonight only, all Torah Anytime lectures are absolutely free. So go for it. So now, there's a Midrash Tanchuma that goes and says, let me read it in Hebrew. Hashol ze Mashiach ben Yosef. Hashol is the ox. This is going to be Mashiach ben Yosef. Shenimshal l'shol. That is compared to a shol. V'chamor, the donkey, ze Mashiach ben David. Shenema ani rochev al chamor. Mashiach ben David is compared to a donkey. Why? Because it's considered as it's noted that Mashiach ben David is coming riding on a donkey. So we see over here something very interesting, that there's an ox and a donkey. Mashiach ben Yosef is compared to an ox. Mashiach ben David is compared to a donkey. Says the Vilna Gaon. He says there's more to it than that. Esav is also compared to an ox, and Ishmael is also compared to a donkey. Now, what do we see over here? We see over here that you have an ox and a donkey. And this is why, by the way, there's a law that you can't plow an ox and a donkey together, because it represents a combined forces of Esav and Ishmael. If you put them together, then the power is going to be too strong and they can't be destroyed. So that's why you see also throughout history, they're always against each other. So in any case, neither here nor there. But you have the ox and you have the donkey. So the ox is Esav. Who's going to get that? Who's going to get out of Esav? That's going to be Mashiach ben Yosef, because he's also represented by an ox. The donkey is Ishmael. Who's going to get out of that? Oh, Mashiach ben David, because he's represented by a donkey. He's represented by a donkey based on the Midrash over here. So we have here two very important aspects of the two Mashiachs, and they're each going to come and focus on a different aspect to overcome, again, in the spiritual sense. The Kabayasha says in this chapter 102, and says if you take the words Edom and Ishmael, it comes out to the numerical value of 502. If you take the amount of years that our Avos lived, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, Abraham lived 175, Yitzhak 180, and Yaakov 147, you add that all together, it comes up to 502 as well. You have the Avot coming and going and fighting against the power of Esav and of Edom and Ishmael, coming to the final exile. So now, let's take this one step further. This is where it gets so beautiful. All right, stay with me. Edom, we mentioned long ago, many moons ago, that Edom represents orderliness, seder. Everything is very, very meticulous by Edom, by Rome. Everything is very, very meticulous. Look at their architecture, look at their understanding, the concepts, very, very meticulous. From this comes, obviously, arrogance. Edom is known for their arrogance. The Ishmael is the flip side of that. Ishmael is known as, the Pasuk says in Bereshit, chapter 16, verse 12, it says, V'hu yeh pere adam, he's going to be a wild animal. Yado b'kol v'yad kol bo. His hand is in everything. He's going to be very wild. The opposite of orderliness. The opposite of very, very specific. He's going to be very, very, all over the place. Rashi says, what does it mean, Yado b'kol v'yad kol bo? Is that his hands are going to be, he's going to be stealing. He's going to be going through other people and he's going to be taking things that do not belong to him. Says this is the Gemara in Sanhedrin, page 98. It says, what do you want to do if you want to be saved in the time of Mashiach? You do Torah and Gemilut Chasadim. You do those two things, you're going to be saved during the time of Mashiach. Torah and Gemilut Chasadim. Torah is learning Torah, and Gemilut Chasadim is doing acts of kindness. Now says Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Chaver, goes and explains why specifically those two. So we know Gemilut Chasadim, this is the antithesis of Rome. Rome is what? It's all about arrogance. It's all about me. You want to get over it? You have to do Gemilut Chasadim. It takes over the power of arrogance. Who we said is supposed to overcome Rome? Stay with me for this. Who is supposed to overcome Rome? Mashiach ben Yosef, ox. Both of them are ox. Why Mashiach ben Yosef? Mashiach ben Yosef is known for the orderliness. Look at what he accomplished. By the way, this is my own Kiddush. I haven't seen this yet anywhere. But why Mashiach ben Yosef? Mashiach ben Yosef is all known about his orderliness. Everything's very meticulous. Why? Look at Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik was able to go and save the entire world from hunger. He went and he did through Sedel. He went and when it was a lot of plenty, he put on the side. And then when they needed, then he gave it to the people that are needed it. But how did he do it? We know that Edom is all about arrogance. It's all about myself. What happened whenever Yosef came according to something? What did he say? Even the dreams. He says, it's not in my hands, it's in God's hands. It's God has the answer to the dreams. Even when he spoke to Paro, he never took credit himself. He went the opposite of arrogance. So we have over here Mashiach ben Yosef. Mashiach ben Yosef is the ox going to overcome the Edom, which is also comparable to the ox. What is Edom? Edom is known for arrogance and known for seder, orderliness. Yosef took it and switched it the other way around. He took the seder, he took the orderliness, he took the concept of going and taking something in meticulous and use it for the benefit. And not only that, by saving the entire world, we also said what? That it's tikkun olam. Mashiach ben Yosef is one who does tikkun olam. He went and he saved the entire world. How did he do that? Through the seder, through the orderliness. And how did it come into? Only against the 100% the opposite, 180 degrees, the opposite of arrogance. Everything is God, Mashiach ben Yosef says. So far so good? You following with me? Somewhat good. 50%. Okay, you get 50% off today. Then let's go to the next thing. Then we said that's Gemilut Chasadim. You have to be saved during the time of Mashiach. Then we said what? Learning Torah. Learning Torah is supposed to overcome what? It's supposed to overcome Ishmael. And why specifically Ishmael is known as like just Yad b'kol v'yad kabor, pere adam, a wild animal. Wild animal also means in the physical temptations. In the temptations, they just go whatever it is that they desire. Torah is able to go and inhibit those desires. If you go and you learn Torah, you're able to focus and control your desires. That is what Torah is supposed to. That they're supposed to overcome. So you learn Torah, you overcome the power of Yishmael. Now, who is the power of Yishmael? We said that was a donkey. What that's Mashiach ben David. What was David HaMelech known for? David HaMelech was known for that he never slept longer than 60 horse breaths. He never slept. Why didn't he sleep? He wasn't binge watching TV shows, right? What was he doing all that time? He was sitting and learning Torah and praying God and writing Tehillim. He was focusing his work and focusing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything he says, all he wants to do is sit in the Bet HaMidrash. That's what David HaMelech says. He says, I don't care about anything. All I want is learning Torah. So what does it come to? It comes to Mashiach ben David. What does it come? Mashiach ben David is Torah. What does the Torah come to overcome the physical temptation? Who has the physical temptation? This disorderliness, the opposite of Edom? That's Ishmael. That you have Ishmael. What is learning Torah? That's Tikkun Adam. That's fixing of them. That's what David did. And that's what we circle all together. We need two Mashiachs. We need Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Adam. However, we said that what? That if you go, bring it to another. Again, this is my own chidushim. I'm still waiting to go and find the sources of this, but I think it's beautiful. And again, if you want to argue with me, by all means you can. What do we say that if we don't need Mashiach ben Yosef necessarily? What do we have? If we can have Mashiach ben David, if what? If we bring ourselves to the level that we need to. Now, what does Mashiach ben David, we just said, represents? Mashiach ben David, again, represents the orderliness, right? We're going backwards. That it's going and it's trying to overcome Yishmael, which is what? Through the Torah. Through learning Torah. This is the Gemara Sanhedrin, page 98, says if you want to go, you have to go Gmilat Chaslim and learning Torah. What's Torah? Torah is Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. If you have Torah, you have everything. You have Gmilut Chaslim, you have everything. So if you go and you focus on the Torah, and if you go and you delve in it to the level, then you won't need anything else, because you can have Gmilut Chaslim, you have everything. So technically, if we go and we focus on Mashiach ben David, we focus on that concept, we won't need to come to anything else. After that, we'll have everything. We'll come to the Geula, without needing the war of Gog and Magog, without needing the death of Mashiach ben David. We'll come to the highest level possible, and we'll have Mashiach coming not be'ita, but actually by earlier. There's 2 times in it. We're going to get to that in a second. So far, so clear?
Beautiful.
Okay. One person got it. Okay, good. So 2 people. Okay. Crazy, right? Now, before we have a little bit of time, I actually wanted to go and speak with the next 10 minutes or so about Eliyahu Hanavi. But because I feel this is so unbelievably amazing and awesome, I mean, all Torah is amazing and awesome, do you need me to go over that one more time, or do you feel like you got it? If I could have everybody just look at me very awkwardly and not answer, it would be perfect. That's all I'm looking for. Too fast. Okay, so let's go. Thank you. So let's go over. Let's try to understand this one more time and put it. What I really should have done is I should have made like a chart. I should have made a chart. Yeah. If I would have had something, I would write it here now. Okay. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Okay. We started from the beginning. There's Tikkun Olam and Tikkun Adam. There's a fixing of the world and there's a fixing of the person. And we said that these 2 powers. Speaking slower. I got to calm down. The problem is like this. The problem is when I get excited, when I speak faster. So, yeah, and then you don't understand. I understand it. I'm like in the clouds now, but you were like, what is he talking about? So sometimes I guess the class is just for me. So you have Tikkun Olam and Tikkun Adam. That's how we start off. There's 2 important facets that we need to do to bring ourselves to the level before Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon only had to focus on himself. When he did the sin, he had to go now and fix the himself and also fix the surrounding with it. We said that when people don't do the mitzvot, they don't follow the Torah, they affect the world around them, and there's a tikkun olam that needs to be done as well, and there's a tikkun adam that needs to do it, that needs to be fixed as well. Who came to the fruition, to the maturity level in the history of the Jewish nation? There were 2 personalities that came over here. We said that Yosef HaTzadik, he did tikkun olam. How did he do Tikkun Olam? We could say one simple understanding for it. Again, a lot of this, I'm going to give you, it's my own chidushim based on different things. So again, argue with it all you want, but I think it's beautiful and I think it's correct until I get this proven. So the concept here is very fascinating. Yosef HaTzadik, Tikkun Olam, is very beautiful because he saved the world. He was the one who saved the world. He also had made people do different Brit Milah and things that he had to do to focus on help the other people and help the world, save them physically and save them spiritually. That was Yosef HaTzadik. David HaMelech was Tikkun Adam. Tikkun Adam through the Torah and through the Tehillim that he went and he learned. He was the epitome of going and fixing the Tikkun Adam. So we have over here 2 fixing that need to be done. Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Adam. Tikkun Olam with Yosef, Tikkun Adam with King David. Now this is where we introduced originally Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben Yosef originally, and then Mashiach ben David, coming afterwards. So now we said that we're on two final exiles. We have the exile of Yishmael, and we have the exile of Edom. Now, in each of these exiles, they each represent something else. Edom represents arrogance, ga'ava, which comes from the sense of everything has to be very, very meticulous, very, very orderly. And that's how they work. They work very, very meticulous, very orderly. And then Yishmael is the opposite of that. The opposite of orderliness. You look at the war, you look at the armies, look at the association between Edom and Ishmael, you could actually see it. You see the difference in it. You look at the way that they act. Edom is also very into physical temptation. Don't get me wrong. But Ishmael is a different level. Pere Adam, he's known as a wild animal. It's hands in everything. He just goes in everything, doesn't ask any questions. Right? Edom asks questions. They might not like the answers, and they do it anyways, but at least they ask the question. So there's a difference in over here, the power of the impurities with Edom and the power of impurities with Ishmael. So the powers of Edom is more sedel, orderliness, which comes from arrogance. The power of Ishmael is more disorderliness and going after the physical lust, the temptations that you have. Compared to both of those, we had Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. So we said that the Gemara in Sanhedrin goes and says very simple: you want to get saved from all these problems in Gog and Magog, you have to do two things. You have to do Torah and Gemilut Chasadim. And Rav Yitzchak Eisenhower goes and says, it works perfectly. You have Torah and you have Gemilut Chasadim. We have Ishmael and we have Edom. Each one focus on them, on themselves. By the way, I'm making my own chart in my mind. I hope you're following with me in that, right? So you have over here. Let's start with Edom. You have over here Edom, right? So Edom, we know as orderliness and sedel and arrogance. What do you get out of arrogance? You do chesed. Because what happens when you do chesed? When you do chesed, you don't say everything is mine. It says, let me help somebody else. Let me take what I have and give it to somebody else. So you're getting out of your arrogance. Arrogance all me. It all belongs to me and there's nothing to do. But when you do something for somebody else, you reduce your arrogance. You reduce the level of gava that you have. So in order to get rid of Edom, which is the power of arrogance, you go and you give. That's chesed. That's doing that. Ishmael is the power of temptation. The Gemara in Kiddushin goes and says that Barati Yetzara, Barati Torah Tavlin. I created the evil inclination, but how do you get out of the evil inclination? There's one way, only one. There's one answer to that question. That's the Torah. If you go and you learn Torah, you learn the mitzvot, you learn the halakha, you learn everything that you do, that in itself has the power to overcome the temptation and to be able to overcome your desires. So you have Ishmael, you have Esav, you have Edom. You have Edom that overcomes that arrogance. How are you going to do that? Through Gemilut Chasadim. You have Ishmael that has the desire of they're going to come in through Torah. Good so far? You with me? Okay, I'm scrolling up a little bit, so we're going to start from here, right? So now, Adam over here is over here. Okay, fine. So now you have over here that we have Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben Yosef is going to come and represents what? It represents a tikkun olam. A tikkun olam, in a sense, this is coming to go and fix everything through what? Through sedel. Yosef HaTzadik was through sedel. He went and he was able to take the 7 years of plenty and put it away very meticulously. Put it away to make sure that there's enough for everybody else. And not only that, he went and he was able to go and bring them to a higher level, even on a spiritual sense. So Yosef HaTzadik was able to get out, and what did he do that all? He did it all out of what? Out of not only besides the chesed that he did and saved other people, and he gave them money and gave them food when they didn't have anything, but he did it all without arrogance. Getting out completely of the concept of Edom. This is Mashiach ben Yosef. Then you have Mashiach ben David, which is coming to overcome Ishmael. And Ishmael is what is the power of temptation. What comes out of the power of temptation, the disorderliness, that comes the Torah. The Torah Kedosha, that's going to be able to overcome these temptations. So this is where you have David HaMelech. David HaMelech who only focus on Torah, who focused his entire life to the extent that he didn't sleep. He did not sleep for 70 years. For 70 years, he didn't sleep. He focused only on this. And there's a lot more to discuss about it. I don't want to get too much into it, but Adam HaRishon gave to David HaMelech the 70 years that he went, and for different tikkunim and purposes that he needed to do that. But something fascinating about over here is David HaMelech was all focused about the Torah, and he was tikkun Adam, the personal tikkun, the thing that Adam HaRishon wasn't able to go and fix. So David was going to be able to go and bring it to that level. So what we have Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David overcoming Ishmael, Mashiach ben Yosef overcoming the Edom. You have both of them together. They're coming the two last legs in the dream, the two last legs of the dream of the Babel, the two last exile that's going to come. But we know that you're able to do it. It doesn't have to be Mashiach ben Yosef, doesn't have to come, doesn't have to die. What if we go and we follow the Torah? If we follow the Torah fully, 100%, with full devotion, and we know that we're doing it, we don't fool ourselves like Paras Umadai. We don't like Persia and Babylon. We don't fool ourselves saying that we deserve, we're okay, right? We're reformed, but we're religious. We're conservative, but we're this. We're modern Orthodox, but whatever. We follow the Torah the way that it's supposed to. And when we do that, all of a sudden we're true to ourselves. We're true to ourselves. We follow the Torah, then B'ezrat Hashem will have Mashiach ben David coming without the need of any destruction, any Gog and Magog, any death, Chas v'Shalom, of Mashiach ben Yosef. Was that better? Yeah. Okay, Baruch Hashem. This helped? Okay.
I'm enjoying it also.
Okay.
So what you're saying makes complete, total logical sense. My question is hypothetical. Most of the world is not that way. So does it depend on a minority who are working on justice perfection, or it depends on the majority who are.
Good question. Does it need the entire Jewish nation to focus on that or not? There is a concept that Mashiach is going to come based off a bunch of Jews sitting together and learning Torah. What does that mean? It means a small group of people. It's true, but I don't know to tell you if you need everything, you need not. But I'll tell you one thing. Focus on yourself and help the people around you. And you don't realize the effect that it has when you start helping, even by you just focusing on yourself, you start going and other people see that. And other people change because of that. There's something very, very fascinating when you see a group of friends. When you see a group of friends and one friend goes and besides become religious, so either what happens is that the friends follow them or they completely disassociate. And completely, fall apart. But I've seen this time and time again, and I have students like this that became my students. Why? Because one person became my student. And from that, all of a sudden, they brought all their friends, and they came into it. And then I have one student that has a bunch of friends that has no associations with it. Now, it doesn't depend on the person per se, but when you do something good, it has a ripple effect. It affects you and affects people around you. In our day and age with science and technology, now the classes that we have over here, reach throughout other places in the entire world. Literally, the entire world. It's so unbelievable. So you have all these, all these concepts, all these things that you need, that you're able to do, and what you realize is even that if you're sitting over there and you're going and you're doing your own Torah, your own mitzvot, it doesn't only affect you, it affects people around you, and eventually it will come to the, throughout the entire world. But actually, you remind me of one thing when we spoke about Gemilut Chasadim. There's something very interesting that I'm involved in a sense, and I'll tell you what. When you speak about Chesed. So like when you're giving, let's say, tzedakah, right? One of the highest level of chasadim. Obviously, the highest level of chesed is teaching somebody Torah. But you have also something very important is gemilut chasadim. So there are many times where you want to give, let's say, tzedakah. You want to give charity, and you hear about this organization, and this organization is amazing. But there's something very interesting that you want to give charity, but you end up not doing it. There's many times where you have, you hear about an organization and you hear about the amazing things that they do and be like, you know what, I should really give in it. And it doesn't take so long to give it. The apps nowadays are amazing. You don't even have to type in your credit card number. You could just scan it, right? You just do that and it just writes it for you. Yet those two-step process, the Yitzhak works so strong and says, we'll do it tomorrow. Let's balance our checkbooks. Whatever it is, any donation.
They always put up on the website.
No, but that doesn't matter. Not Torah anytime. I'm not speaking about Torah. I'm talking about in general.
WhatsApp, just like they always have
Yeah, and you always say exactly. Yeah, that's a good. So sad. I should really donate. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that sometime. And we don't. Right. So there's so many. Exactly. There's so many. So what are you going to do? You want to help everything. So I want to share with you an organization that came out. Amazing organization. I donate to them. And in my personal opinion, is I think that everybody should donate to them. It's an organization called dailygiving.org. Dailygiving.org. I know one of the founders very well. The other founders have been, I've been, communicating back and forth. Amazing people. And what they do is something very interesting. Is you donate $1 a day to this tzedakah, to this charity, and what they do is every day they give a certain amount of money to a different organization every single day. So every single day. So for example, right now they're giving. I checked it today, right before the class. They have $789 being given out every single day, to a different organization. You're giving $1 a day, so you're one of the 789 people. You could be one of those people. So one day you could give to, for example, this. I want to just list you, and you could go on their website and you could see all the organizations that they give. So they have, for example, an organization called A-Time, which I don't want to get into, but what? It's like Bonei Olam, but A-Time happens to be my wife's uncle, and amazing people, of course, obviously, because I'm related to them. But besides that, they're amazing people. Is that they help people with infertility. You know how many times people be like, you know what, I would love to give for infertility. Or what about Aish.com? You'd be like, they do a lot of good work. Be like, you know what, I would love to, but what would be how often were you going to go and you're going to give to Aish? You go, let's say, for example, Amudim. Amudim is an organization that helps people that are abused. Be like, that's a good cause. I should really give to that. But I'm not. It's not going to happen. Then you have, for example, Avigdar's Helping Hand. Never heard about this before. Helps orphans get married. How amazing is that mitzvah? Yad Eliezer, you go and you help people with poverty. You have there's an organization called Pantry Packers. They go and they give food to the poorest people in Israel, the poorest families in Israel. You have Hatzalah, you have Hask, you have Chai Lifeline, you have Chazak, you have Cheva Kadisha, people that help people go and bury the dead. You have, of course, you have Torah Anytime also involved in there. I don't have to give you an introduction to Torah Anytime. Everyone knows that, I speak all the time about it. You have all these organizations, and this organization takes nothing. All run by volunteers. You go and you donate to them. So you give them $1 a day, and dailygiving.org. Every day it goes and it gives to a different organization. So what the fascinating thing is that there's so many organizations that I would love to give. But you're going to give $1 to an organization? No, but if you're part of a group, now after this lecture goes on, it's going to go from 789 B'ezrat Hashem to 7,890, whatever it is, it's going to be like everyone's going to sign up because it's so amazing. $1 a day. They do it. You'll go on the website. They usually do by month. Yeah, it's automatically by the credit card.
So you give them a credit card, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's end of the year, $365.
No, so you could either do it by month or by year, whatever it is. Go look at it. And you can see it yourself. But the idea is fascinating. There's so many organizations that I want to be a part of. Don't you want to be a part of so many amazing organizations? But you can't. It's so hard. What, you can give every $1 a day? There's a mitzvah to give tzedakah all the time. Here you have something done for you. I think it's genius. It's so amazing. It's so unbelievable. When I heard this, I signed on right away. I'm like, are you kidding me? For like $30 a month, I'm able to do it? I'm able to go, and you see all the organizations. They donate every single day, and you get an email to it what you donated to that day. It's so amazing, so unbelievable. So we said, well, what? To come time of the Mashiach. You have to go. What's so funny?
It's $1.04.
And I need the tax. Actually, it's $1.08.
Okay, $1.04 a day. Right? You could help. You could do so much. When was the last time you gave Hatzalah money? When was the last time? Chinese auctions, whatever it is. But it doesn't matter. When was the last time that you went and gave it without thinking that you're going to win a trip to Israel and win $1 million apartment? And, overseeing the kotel. I don't know how they have so many of these, but they're all overseeing the kotel, all have $1 million, and all, right? How do you, when was the last time that you just gave? That you just did chesed? That you just said, you know what? Without any arrogance, without any gava, I'm just giving. I'm just... Yeah, whatever it is, it's good to give everybody. I'm not going to, go and say which one, but this is you have an amazing opportunity. Let me just finish my pitch. So I got my train of thought. So, and then I'll get back to you. The concept of here is so amazing, so fundamental to the Jewish concept. There's so many amazing organizations out there, and there are times you're going to go up to heaven and you're never going to even realize what you have helped, who you've helped. Usually, when you give a checkbook and you write and you'd be like, I helped this, I helped this, I helped that. I know what I helped. You're going to come up after 120. You don't even know what you did. You don't even know the power of what your money goes into. It goes anywhere from helping the Torah to helping poor people to helping. It covers everything. It covers all grounds, and it fixes, it's something so fundamental, so amazing. So I remember when I started on it, they had like 200 people or something on it. Now they have 789. So what the beautiful thing is that, $1 a day everybody could do. Everybody can do $1 a day. So what you should do is not only that you should do it, you should go and help other people. We're trying to build chesed, to bring the Mashiach. How are you going to bring the Mashiach? You go and you spread chesed. You go and you bring back the true chesed without any arrogance whatsoever. You have the organization doesn't know who you are. This is completely giving b'tzinah. No one knows who you are. You're giving money every single day. It's something so amazing, so fundamental, so beautiful. With so little, you could accomplish so much. If you don't go, and it's something that you need to do tonight. You can't wait for these type of things. It's not going to affect you that much, and it's going to affect other people so much. And not only that, imagine if you're going to be able to bring other people on it. I think that the idea is amazing. It's a bomb idea. Such a good idea. I wish I would have done it, right? But I didn't. So what can I do? Now I'm going to promote it, right? To try to, and again, I know plenty of people. You look at their website; they have plenty of, go look at the rabbinical, figures behind it. It's such an amazing thing. I strongly recommend every single one to go and not only increase your chesed, also besides increasing your chesed, also increase your limud Torah, increase your learning of Torah, increase the things that we need to go and bring Mashiach b'mehera b'yameinu. Now you had a question on that, or something. Kiruv is very, very important. So there you have Kiruv in there also. They give Chazak, they give Torah anytime, they give everything. Kiruv is very important because Kiruv, you're helping someone spiritually. So it's very, very important. But over here, give Kiruv and give this. Give $1 over here and $1 over here. It doesn't hurt. But there's something so amazing. I've never heard another, organization that says I'll give, take $1 a day. $18 a month. But it's something, even if you give for one organization $18 a month, so you're giving one organization. But here you're giving 30 different organizations every month. Can you believe that? It's so, it's so unbelievable. It's so, it's fascinating. And just to explain why it's the 4 cents, is because that's the credit card fee.
Yeah, yeah.
Just so that you know. So you're actually getting a full dollar to tzedakah. So it comes out to like $31 a month or something. I have to check my, the credit card, what comes out to. But it's something that definitely you should do. I wanted to speak about Eliyahu and Avi, but maybe we'll save it for next time. Any questions? The website? What? Oh, it's dailygiving.org. Okay. Okay. You forwarded? Okay, good. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Basically, it's that Mashiach when Mashiach when Dalet. So Mashiach when Yosef is going to come when things are like when Mashiach has to come, like by the year 6000.
In a sense, it could be, but there's a lot of. So the question is that Mashiach ben Yosef, does that mean that it's only going to come when it's the final Be'ita? What about the Achishana if it comes earlier? So it happens to be, it could be both, because Mashiach could come even earlier, but it depends. There's different factions and how severe it would be. Like Mashiach ben Yosef can come, but it doesn't have to die. Like, so there's different levels in between that. It's not only early or late or on time, but it could also be early, but and something extra on the damaged part or something like that, depending on the spiritual standing. But that's why we dive in for it, we go and we try to make sure that it's not going to come to that. And just what you should know, like in general, any prophecy that it's a negative prophecy doesn't have to come true. Negative prophecy doesn't, because if the Jewish people could get out of that through Torah, like Milut Hasidim, obviously, then they won't need to go into Torah Tfilat Tzedakah, obviously, as well. They won't need to go into that level. A positive prophecy always comes true. So that's why this can go either way, depending on the level. But the worst case scenario, that's what we discussed.
When you say we're, like, I remember months ago when I first came, I remember you were saying about that we're in the midst of Mashiach and Mashiach is coming. What do you mean by that in terms of like, everything is happening also now, like, I think Iran, they're already saying that they're going to try to destroy them.
So, what do I mean by it's happening very soon? One thing, if you notice, I gave, what was this, my 19th class on Mashiach or something like that? I don't know if I've ever spoken about current events. And for a reason for that. I don't speak about current events on how it relates vis-a-vis Mashiach. Why? Very simple answer. I have no idea. I have no idea like where it goes into it, but one thing we know, and it's not based on me, it's based on what our Chachamim, our sages, have said, and what our Torah scholars, the greatest of the generation, say now that we're in the Ikfus of the Mashiach, we're in the time of Mashiach.
People say they're excited for Mashiach, but at the same time, we know most of the Jewish people are not going to survive. Like in Mitzrayim, like only 1/5 came out.
Again, it doesn't have to be that the Jewish nation does not, the entire Jewish nation does not survive Mashiach. Again, that's the worst case scenario.
We can't even get everyone to keep Shabbos.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Shabbos Project is working on it. All right? We're doing it one step at a time. Listen, it's true. You don't give up. We got to keep on going. We got to keep on working. We got to keep on fighting and keep on helping other Jews come closer to Torah. And we have to keep on making sure ourselves are coming closer to Torah. And step by step, you realize when you're doing a good deed, it affects a Jew in China and in Russia and any of the stands, Uzbekistan, Azbekistan, Uglistan, all the stands. It doesn't matter which ones of the stands it is, it helps all of them. So when you go and you start, doing something, you're doing, mitzvah, it's helping everybody else. Because it's seeping through, it's a tikkun olam as well. So it helps everybody as well. So even though you don't have a direct correlation to that, you have some sort of indirect correlation to other people going, maybe awakening inside of them to go and come closer to Torah, mitzvot. So never give up. Keep on fighting, I guess would be the right word. I said that very unenthusiastically, but keep on fighting. Just go for it. Fight, win, conquer. Yetzirah. Yes. Yeah, okay. On camera. Any other questions on camera? No questions? Okay. Chazak u'baruch.